Hello, beautiful, beautiful ones. How's everybody doing? Welcome to the vibe for 2025. What's in store for the Starseeds, the Empaths, the Lightworkers, the Wayshowers, those of us who are the awakening humanity who are holding the frequency that we're inviting everyone else to entrain with. Because you know what? We are here as the beings that are co-creating star peace on Earth by activating our own personal peace and radiating that out into the collective. That is how we create our beautiful world peace. I am RozyGlow. For those of you who don't know me, I am a channel of divine grace. And I am here as the founder of the Star Peace movement. And I have the Star Peace codes activated within me, ready to activate you. And what is this really all about? Well, I very recently published a book called StarPeace 101, How to Create Peace in One Generation. And there is actually a scientific formula for peace in here. Okay, science-backed, three-pronged formula for peace, which I feel like I'm going to spend the whole of my life talking about now until I see it manifesting as a reality. And you're with me today so we can actually have a quick look at the energies of 2025 and how you can align with the vibe of celebration, culmination, and actually claiming back. That is what I'm feeling is the vibe for 2025. And if you want to align with that, then say star peace in the comments. Let's have a like, let's have a follow, and just check out as well the notifications tab so you know if you tap it even, you'll be able to know every time I go live. Now, I haven't been very active on YouTube for a little while because I've actually been busy writing the book, the second iteration of it. And here we are today where I'm sharing this reading with you, or this energy update, actually, because I just did a star piece reading on the day of the solstice. Now, 6 months ago, just before the summer solstice in the Northern Hemisphere, I had published the first version of this book, but I didn't sell it. Thank goodness, because it was the raw version of this, which would have probably got quite a lot of people's noses out of joint. There are only 25 copies in circulation of those, and I still have 6 of those in my personal possession. But I digress. The point is, now there is a version of this book which is available for everybody who wants to basically make the shift from surviving to thriving. And you could be a multi-millionaire or a billionaire and still be experiencing surviving energy. In fact, it is probably the biggest root cause of most people seeking to have way more resource than they could possibly want or need, and just accumulate and hoard because actually there's a lack wound there. And this year is a culmination year because the year vibrates to the frequency of 9. Now, last year, I kept talking about the importance of Lionsgate. It was a year that was culminating, so 24 into the frequency of 8, 2024. You can add them all up and you get to 8, yeah? And because Lionsgate always falls on the 8th of the 8th, the 888 energy I knew was going to be huge. It was like a Lionsgate on cosmic steroids. That was going to be the big event for really, I would say, up until the end of the birth corridor of the age of Aquarius, so through to 2032, right, and beyond. Now, we planted a lot of seeds, and those of you who were ready for the impact that you wanted to have in this world had the opportunity to call in 1,000-fold expansion. That means not 10x, not 100x, but 1,000x your impact. And that's what I called in. And oh my goodness, that's not for the faint-hearted, my friends, right? So just remember, this is very important for you setting your vibe for 2025, is to consider actually the having and the holding of what you say you actually want. Because with everything that we say we want, there are, things that help, things that hinder, right? So when you start a movement and you really want to get it big and visible, there can be a lot of planning and a lot of effort involved in keeping going and not giving up. But then when it takes a life of its own, it starts to snowball, and it's on a train that is going to just keep running and going and building, and there's no changing it. Then you are foobarred if you don't want it to go the way it's going, because it's beyond your control. So anywhere that you're experiencing at this point challenges in your life, remember, this is your highest self coming to you and saying, are you sure you really want this? And are you sure you really want this in this form? And I say this because for me, one of the things I've had to get super clear on is the terms of my visibility. Now, there are many spiritual teachers saying all sorts of things out in the world today. I'm just going to be really clear to you that I work with those who have been on a spiritual path for a very, very long time. Okay, I am a psychic soul coach. I'm a multidimensional mentor. I work with those who are ready to bring their shadow to light and to co-create from their highest self And this is the theme of this year. It's about putting your soul in control 2025. 9 is a culmination number, as I said. So it's a year of, it's almost like all the efforts you've been putting out in the last 9 years coming back to you and saying, here you go. Here are all the seeds you planted. Here is how they're bearing fruit. Okay, this is a year of claiming back all that you've been seeding, the harvest year. Okay, so it's a powerful year. And I'm not an astrologer. And one of the things I do want to say about this is there are all sorts of cycles that we are affected by. Okay, but it's knowing about these cycles that allows you to choose how you're going to be impacted. If you know the weather report, you can plan, right, where you're going to go and what kind of clothing you need and what you might need to pack with you. So I feel it's very important to say this, and I want to give the moon as an example. So here's my perspective. I do run full moon manifesting circles every month. Okay, these are personal healings and world service co-creations. You join me online, and what we do is we set intention and then we clear resistance up, because the moon will bring up the subconscious resistance. When the moon is at its full point, that is when you will basically get all the shadows amplified, right? So I work with that energy to help clear, and I work with the new moon energy to seed new intentions, because for a very, very long time, and this is pre-patriarchy, in the matriarchal era, the moon was worshipped in the same way that the sun has been worshipped in the patriarchal era. But the point is not to worship anything, right? Okay, the point is we're moving beyond this worshipping of external forces and even giving our power away to external authority. And we're coming into the era now of uniarchy. This is like the end of the, if you like, the matriarchal and patriarchal lessons. 2025 is like mum and dad finally having had enough therapy, all right, having had enough subconscious reprogramming to actually be the best version of themselves they possibly could be inside of you as your inner mum and inner dad, so that actually you can have the experience now of being the divine child, asking for what you want, asking for what you need, knowing that it will be provided for, because this is a benevolent universe that we're living in. And the astrological profile is basically a year that is unlike anything we have known before. Now, as I said, I'm not an astrologer. And when I come back to the moon, I just want to say that there are some who love the moon and work with the moon energy and the cycles of the moon. There are others that claim that it's a base station, a space station, base station. There are others claiming that the moon is actually entrapping us, and that it's not a natural construct, and it's been created in order to keep us stuck in cycles, including the women's menstrual cycle. So I know there's lots of coaches out there now that are manifesting, or they're doing their business according to their cycle. And I think this is wonderful in the sense of, you know, being aware that generally when you're about to bleed, you don't feel so sexy and attractive, and you just want to hibernate, and it makes sense. And then when you are on your moon, you just want to hibernate for a bit and not do anything, and that makes sense. And then when you're ovulating, you tend to be more sparkly and sassy, and that's great. But I'm not going to stop myself doing something because today is day X and it's not a good day for me to do it. If we can learn the rules, then we can break them. This is my invitation to you. And that is what this year coming is about. It's a year of self-mastery, my friends. It is a year where you get over all the Jedi mind tricks that are your ego programming trying to trip you up. And you go, you know what? I know there's going to be resistance from within me. I can plan for that. But what is it I really want? And why do I want it? And do I want this as a short-term thing or a long-term thing? So when you're setting your intentions, especially now with the solstice, and you're doing readings and you're looking at what's ahead and you're tuning into your guides, just remember that, you know, the important thing is to set intention and to know that as you go towards what you want, that which is in resistance will show up. Okay. Now we are already living in a world where things are more bizarre than they've ever been. Okay, at this point in time, there's talk about drones and, you know, whether they're real, where they're coming from, whether they're man-made, whether they're extraterrestrial. At this moment in time, we've got, you know, someone coming back into power that some people are terrified about, and other people behind the scenes are going, yes, at last, not because they worship him, but because they understand what he represents. And I am saying no name. Okay, but the point is for you, do you want to live this life as your highest self? If you do, give me a comment. Yes, I want to live as my highest self. Just say it. Yes, highest self. Okay, claim it. because this means you own your desires fully. And this is what I'm saying about this year ahead. This is the alignment. Own your desires fully and then surrender them to the highest good of all and the win-win-win in everything. So this is a year of surrender, and I've been careful about not putting that in the title, because I know for many people surrender means giving up, and this is not about giving up. Okay, there is nothing here about giving up. This is about you no longer being controlled by your ego. Okay, and what that means is no longer being controlled by your survival programming. Now that means that you basically take yourself seriously, and you know that your shadow is going to want to show up and stop you from doing what you say you want. And the important thing is to meet that shadow with love, to meet that shadow with your absolute compassion. Say, hey, come with me. We're going this way anyway. Come with me. Okay. So let's just recap. Celebration, culmination. Yeah. And what was the other thing I said? Claiming back. Okay. So celebration, culmination, claiming back. Also a year of surrender. A year with many more truths are going to be coming to light, and many more brave souls who are high profile creatives. Excuse me. Who are high profile creatives will be stepping forward and being brave and calling, well, I don't want to say calling out because I don't like that, but bringing things to light. And there will be those of the old establishment that will be seeking to control and suppress. But what's going to happen is for absolutely every human being that would normally like to go, oh, I don't know what you mean. I can trust them. They're trustworthy. They're trustworthy. I can just give my power away to someone else. Then I don't have to take responsibility. That ain't going to be happening anymore. There's going to be an incredible wave of, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I don't even want to say they've been lying to us. I feel like even the people who have been perpetuating the lies without realizing it are going to realize that they are being manipulated, controlled, and used as puppets. Okay. Now, I am not really interested in creating more division. What I'm interested in is a tsunami of change. Interesting. Clearing the throat chakra is going to be very important as well. But yeah, a tsunami of change. Now, I was tuning in with the StarPeace Collective before I made this update because I wanted to see what they were saying. And I was like, should I do a channeled reading or should I just receive the information? They were like, let us download for you and you interpret it in human terms. So if you don't know how I operate and how this book was written, I channel the StarPeace Collective, otherwise known as the Intergalactic Super Federation. So they're all of the galaxies, if you like, the consciousness of the galaxies that came together in our universe and said, you know what, we're done. We're done with war. We're not doing war. We're not doing duality anymore. This universe is evolving into oneness. It is time. It is in the 9 phase. Okay. So 9 being the place where we then come back to 1 again. If you think of the numeric value of 1 to 10, right? So the universe has come to 9. Humanity and this planet is coming to 9. And that's the beauty of this, is that if you add 9, 9, 9, 9, it becomes 27, which is 9 again, right? But this is like, it is just the year of, to me, it's like an eternal harvest. If you allow yourself to plug into the divine, to truly follow your soul path, to let go of the desires you used to have that actually don't resonate anymore with where you want to go, like things you might have wanted 5 years ago, 10 years ago, that you've been holding on to because you wanted them so much that it's really important you achieve it. If you check in with them now, you'd be like, oh, whatever, I don't really want that. I don't really need that. We're all learning to evolve beyond the superficial control we have, and actually to, when you kind of get on the law of attraction path, we get into co-creating, manifesting, vision boards, that kind of thing, there's a sense of we can control our environment, right? We can control our reality through our perception, through our efforts, etc. And it's kind of like kindergarten manifesting. Okay, I don't want to say that in a negative way, because I know for me as well, I had tremendous success with that path. It was like, oh, okay, if I just clear resistance, this will happen and that will happen. And then I found, as I actually aligned with my biggest mission, I received like the StarPeace mission. It was like, this is your mission should you wish to accept it. And I was like, I'm not sure about this. But then I was like, of course, yes, sounds interesting. Ended up in a whole new level. Surrender to true awakening, right? Where the things that you say, this will make me feel safe, that will make me feel safe, it all goes out the window. It's like, I choose to feel safe. I choose to create the frequency of safety within. And then everything around me will in some way be impacted by that. I choose to no longer fear the things I fear. I lean into those fears. I discover what those fears are really about. I remember that I'm an immortal being, therefore I can never die. I know that physical suffering is temporary. I don't want to experience it, but if I do experience it, I have the tools to move through it. This is the year of making better choices for ourselves, having learned from experience and knowing that what might have served us a year ago, 6 months ago, doesn't serve us anymore. And what I see happening is disclosure after disclosure in the collective, to the point that even the mainstream media will end up getting an upgrade. Okay, so the point is, we're at this point in humanity where what you focus on grows. And for those who want to stay in a dualistic, fear-based reality, they can coexist for a while whilst Paradise Earth and the Thrive paradigm is being co-created by the rest of us. But the point is, we don't need that many people to actually hold a focused intention that will create a whole new reality for all. And that is in the book. It's a maximum of 1 billion. But if I told you how few it is in terms of less than 100,000, less than even 50,000, get the book and you'll find out what I mean. We know what we need to do, okay? We actually have everything we need. It's available to us. We know all that is required to turn things around. So when you hear the fear-mongering saying, there's no return, there's no return. Okay, if we don't change our ways, there's no return. But in the instance we decide to change our ways, magic happens, okay? And the power we have to create this tsunami wave of change it's just exponential. And it actually requires cooperation, communication, collaboration, coordination, all the C's that are the 13 C's star maps. I'm actually just going to read this out. Now, yesterday, I offered up a free training on how to make the StarPeace star maps come to life, and also the principles in this book come to life. I took everyone through a couple of the practices in here, so you can be the frequency of peace this Christmas, festive period, whatever it means to you, and you can be the frequency of peace throughout all time, because peace isn't going to come from external efforts. It's going to come from internal frequency shifts first, then taking inspired action from the consciousness of your highest self, not your ego programming. And what I'm seeing is there are many high-profile creatives, many brave souls who are putting themselves forward right now and bringing to light, as I said, that which is hidden, which I'm not really going to say too much about, but where Stephen Bartlett is right now will give you a sense of some of what's going on. And basically what's happening is I'm seeing heart-centered, but not fully soul-activated creatives. Okay, heart-centered, not fully soul activated. And we're moving now into a level of evolution where we have to understand that life imitates art. So I would love you to please take this very seriously. What you watch, what you listen to, what you read, you are energizing that. What you speak about, you are energizing that. This is the year you're going to realize just how powerful you are. And you have the power of your remote control. You have the power of your remote, the dial, so you can actually change what you're listening to. You have the power of what book you're going to pull off the shelf, or you're going to buy, or you're going to read. That's in you, my friend. Okay? Because for us to create something new, we can't be in fear-based and adrenaline-inducing stuff and then seeking to create something that's oxytocin or love-fueled. I was mentioning the 13 C's of co-creating the new earth because we're all here to collaborate now. It ain't about Han Solo, my friends. I'm here, and if you resonate with me and you are an influencer, you are a wayshower, you've got your own podcast, you've got your own TV show, radio show, and you're like, oh, I like what she's saying. Get in touch. Drop me a message. I'm interested. I want to know. Let's collab. I want to know what you're doing, and I'm happy to share what you're doing with the world if we're in resonance, and I would love to share with your platform what I'm doing, because this is about collaboration, creativity, consciousness, connection, communication, compassion, cooperation, courage, confidence, celebration, consideration, clarity, and co-creation. We're learning to create through unified intention rather than being divided and at war. We're not doing that anymore. Isn't that cool? So this is the year of culmination. It is the year of celebration and claiming back. And when I say claiming back, what do you feel you've given out that's never been returned to you? Where have you scattered your seeds? Watch them grow. All right. This is a year where you draw a line and you go, I'm not tolerating this anymore. I'm done. Move out of the way. This is where I'm going. If you're coming with me, come. Otherwise, off you go. Now, when it comes to the shadow is always going to come with you. But the shadow will cause you conflict. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I mean the parts of you that are in resistance to what your highest self wants. They will either keep tugging at you and slowing you down if you don't claim them, okay? That if you suppress them, you'll project. If you don't claim them, then there'll always be a piece of you that feels like it's missing and holding you back. So all you have to do is shed light on them. That's it, okay? So the cards is going to be, I predict, a deck of oracle cards coming from these beautiful star maps. They are also in the book. So, you know, the reason these are so important is they're building a bridge from where we are to where we want to be. And I've just done a reading on YouTube, which you can find. It's nearly an hour long, but I take you through the solstice reading and really, you know, how to prepare ourselves for the year ahead so we can have the best time. Because if your soul's in control, you're going to enjoy this idea of a year that's nothing like a year you've ever had before. But if you're ego driven, it's going to terrify you, because although you still want things that are outside of your familiar zone, what's actually happening is you're scared of what is the unknown. You are scared of basically being in a position where you are going to be in a place where you're not going to know what's coming next. And from the place of a starseed, a lightworker, an empath, a wayshower, what happens with this is what I've noticed on my journey. You get the bigger picture and then you get the next step. And it's whether you are willing to trust your inner authority. You're not giving your power away to someone outside of you. You're trusting the divine in you to guide you, but the divine in you must be activated first, right? So what I'm seeing happening is more and more disclosure, more and more upheaval for those who are in resistance and fearful. And I'm going to just use the example of ETs. Like, we watch all these movies about alien invasions, but the idea that they might be real scares the shit out of some people and they can't believe that this is the reality. Come on. Okay, we need to raise the frequency with compassion, hold all of those who are still in the fear matrix programming, and remember everyone is waking up. So the time lag on our stuff, if you've been itching to move forward and you're chomping at the bit and it seems like you're getting nowhere fast, remember the spin cycle is occurring to shed from you all that is no longer serving, the density that isn't yours, that you didn't create. The way it gets shed is you bring more of your soul light into you, and as a result of that, you transmute and you metabolize. Okay, you shed the dread, you shed the doubt, you shed the fear. You're not getting rid of fear. Fear is a lifesaver. Okay, doubt tells you to look into where there are bits of you that you aren't quite buying into what you're saying. Okay, dread is just telling you where you've bought into your survival program. It's time to have a conversation with that part of you. But when you activate your soul consciousness and you live that and you anchor it into the earth and you spread that out across the planet, then you will always be held in safety. You will always be shown the next step. You will always dodge the bullet wherever it is. Okay, by claiming that you are safe and you are the divine, you create that as your reality. Now, part of us learning to not give our power away to others is to recognize that the whole world is a stage and we're all players on it. So we love having someone to hate. Okay, humanity loves having someone to point the finger at and hate. We don't need to do that anymore. Just remember, everyone's played their part. And as I say in the book, in the Ministry of Magic, you don't really know. Like, if you've read or watched the Harry Potter movies or read the books, you'll know that it's very unclear who the goodies and who the baddies were. And I'm going to ask you to really keep an open heart and mind to what everything means, because we've been told for a long time these are the goodies, when actually they're just the wolf in sheep's clothing. These are the baddies and they're doing this and the fear is going to be this and that, when actually they're doing something completely different. They're holding our sovereignty, they're supporting our sovereignty. That doesn't mean that we agree fully with their whole agenda, but they're playing their part and everyone is playing their part. So when you hold a vision of the best you can for yourself and for humanity, for this planet, you are a seer, you are a visionary, you are an architect of the new world. And one of the things I invite you to in the book StarPeace 101, which you can buy from Amazon, by the way, all around the world, right? Kindle version and paperback, there is the StarPeace manifesto in there, which you can also access for free on starpeaceconsciousness.com. And this gives you a vision that the StarPeace Collective gave me of what this world could look like. I'm inviting you to go, and if you're like, I don't know what could be better than this, I don't know, go and have a look at that manifesto. Let it inspire you. Send me an email. What would be even better than that? Okay, in StarPeace consciousness.com, I outline how you can participate in being part of the solution rather than the problem, how you can use your energy for the highest good. That's the invitation of this year. That's the vibe of this year. It's surrendering, owning your desires fully, questioning them. Why do I want that? Do I want it long term? What do I feel it's going to give me? Really going deep with that. And then surrendering them to the highest good and the win-win-win in everything. Now, again, if you're not sure what that means, this is my life's work. This is what I teach. And I do work with those who've already been on a path of ascension, usually for a good 15, 20 years. They got to the point that they're not prepared to play small anymore. They want to overcome those things that just have not been able to be overcome through their own self-inquiry. And it takes deep trust to trust another to reflect to you your own light. But that's what I do. I act as a interface, if you like, for your highest self, and I communicate that voice back to you until you can hear it in you and you can follow that voice. And I take you through the subconscious clearing, the conscious mind alignment that will allow you to really download your superconscious. That's what I do. And I work deep with people, one-to-one mainly, or small groups. I gave up a lot of the group work. I've now passed it on to the coaches I've trained, but I do oversee and I do step in and do some of the elements. So if you are feeling me, my friend, we have a soul contract, okay? Get in touch. Book a call with me. You can book a desire mapping call. You can book a sacred union call. They're both free until early January. If you go to RozyGlow.com, about halfway down the page, you'll see the invitation to those. Then there's paid calls, Divine Matrix Activation, where I give you a reading of these cards. Divine Navigation Call, where you get a week's coaching plus a very deep experience with me where we channel your highest self. You've got the Personal Fulfillment Fast Track, which is where I work with your pre-birth influences and the beliefs that you have claimed as a result of your time in the womb, your parents' story, your birth, and the immediate postpartum period. This is like the pre-work, if you like, to then doing the subconscious reprogramming, which is a whole other thing. All right. I am excited to see in the world today the conscious creatives waking up. And I want to name a few: Keanu Reeves, his partner, Alexandra. Oh, Alex, I always forget your last name. I'm really, really sorry. But I see you two together and you blow me away. Matthew McConaughey and Camilla. I see, well, there's so many I could mention, and there are quite a few in the book. But mainly it is the sacred union connections. I'm here to activate those who are the 144,400. Now, most people aren't talking about the 400, but the 400 are my solar sign clients in the public arena, okay? They're all twin flame couples, and my take on twin flames is a little different to what you might have heard others say. I've got a video on it on YouTube. You can search for it and find it. But essentially, what I'm seeing is the celebrities that are already active and the coming to the limelight celebrities that are still unknowns have a very special role to play in the sacred union connection, which is again written in the book. And it is about us modeling heart-centered, soul-activated sacred union on this planet. It means we each accept our shadow enough that we can be in the light with each other. Right. So when you get a power couple, and what I mean is a heart-centered, soul-activated couple working together, their energy, their creative, sexual, fertile energy together is just, it's just off the scale. Okay, in terms of the impact it can have. And we don't need all the crazy people who are fear-mongering, warmongering, warlords to actually shift their frequency to peace. We don't. That's the thing. Okay, all we need to do is be the frequency ourselves, and that is where we create the change in the world. So what I'm saying to you is don't get concerned with who's good, who's bad, who's right, who's wrong. It's about you pulling your energy back wherever you're giving your power away to someone else. You will see, and it's important now not to. Okay, we are the change. We are the messiahs we've been waiting for. I don't mean to sound blasphemous, but the Christ is within the crystalline codes. If someone is like, I want you to be careful about male prophets who are not in happy, healthy, sacred union relationships where the feminine is suppressed. Be very careful of their messaging, because some of it is really spot on and some of it isn't. Those who are in a place of unclaimed truth around the power of our sexual energy being to heal, not to harm, will in some way try and suppress it and will be in imbalanced, unhappy relationships. They might be married, they might have kids, but they're not fulfilled. They're not in that sense of feeling met, heart, sacral, and mind. And this is my work. This is what I do. So if that's true for you, please do come to me, because I always say, don't ever end a relationship until you've gone through the processing that I teach, because how you change affects how the other person changes, and they have free will as well. So you can't control how they change, but miracles happen is all I'm saying. So I invite you to remember that. Just be very aware of anyone, including me, any messaging you receive, take the best, leave the rest. Like if something doesn't resonate, it's not for you. If something does, and you're like heart activation, tingling, all that kind of thing going on, and you're like, more of this, more of this. Here I am. I do show up on YouTube. There is very low cost stuff. There's very high cost stuff, depending on who you are and what is required. But as I said, the work is deep. So either I do broadcasts to the masses, or I work very personally and individually with you and your partner, or you and your child that wants to come in. I don't do get people pregnant stuff without them doing clear their stuff first. Okay. I am not interested in bringing babies to this world no matter what, because this world, the babies coming through, they're super high frequency now. They actually deserve to be born into happy relationships, conceived consciously, gestated consciously, birthed consciously. Even if there needs to be some kind of intervention, it's the preparation that's the key. And then nurtured consciously. Okay, so I'm not into the whole designer baby stuff. So I mean, I just want to say with this, sometimes I have to think outside of the box and do things outside of the norm. But money buys power. We know this. However, consciousness is key, however much money you have. And being heart-centered and soul influenced is my jam. That's what I'm about. So I'm going to leave it here, and I'm just going to say, the better it gets, the better it gets. Can you align yourself with beyond your wildest dreams? If you set the tone for 2025 and you get inspired by this idea of beyond your wildest dreams, what would that look like? That's what you're ready to prepare for. That is what this is all about. So yes, there's going to be more chaos and confusion. There's going to be all sorts of attempts to try and keep people in fear. The important thing is focus on the light. The light has won. In our universe, it has won. And everyone on this planet, as a leader, is playing their part in helping that to materialize on Earth. So maybe some of the things, some of you will be like champion and seeing the changes that are going on and going, yes, at last. Others might be absolutely going, oh my God, this has to be the worst thing that's ever happened. You know, I know quite a lot of women are very concerned about the choices being made in the US, for example, right now. And all I'll say is be careful who you're getting the message from, and whether it's really from the horse's mouth, and also how you interpret it. And remember, where you do have choice, act on it. Where you feel like you don't have a choice, consider if that is genuinely true. Because those of us who are in positions where we have the capacity to help others, we have more authority, it is our duty to support those who cannot support themselves at this point, but to get them to a place of safety in themselves where they can then start to take responsibility. That's how we support each other. So I'm going to leave that here, and I'm going to invite you to comment. And if you have any questions, let me know. As I said, I can't encourage you enough to get hold of your copy of StarPeace 101, because it's full of activation codes. Go to Amazon, put it in the search box. Rosanna Hannes is my name. And yeah, if you look up StarPeace 101, how to create peace in one generation, you'll find it. I will be offering the Audible book in the new year, just in the process of recording it, and the oracles will be coming soon as well. And I am here to serve at the highest level. So if you're happy, as in you're feeling what I'm saying and it's bringing a smile to your face, get in touch and let's do something amazing. I love you. You're awesome.